Okay. Sure. Waiting for you guys to come out. Be visible.
Yeah, thank you. Let me just grab a tissue or something.
Okay. Yeah, just
Go have a seat.
yeah. Good evening, everyone. Thank you all for joining us this evening, and welcome to our first Lenten Pastus presentation. Tonight, we're very pleased to have Brittany Barco Kruger and her husband Charlie Kruger with us. Many of you know Brittany from her years here at Our Lady of Mercy, in fact, 21 years in our music ministry. And we've been very pleased to get to know Charlie over these last several years. He is Lawrence Park, born and raised, and he attended St. Mark's, the Evangelist Church, growing up. Charlie and Brittany are both singers, songwriters, multi-instrumentalists who seek to re-gift the gifts they've been given through lessons revealed to them through their sister with special needs, Kelly May. Kelly's brother is a budding project that offers messages of simplicity and joy through various art forms. Through word, song, and visual art, Kelly's brother exists as a project to raise money for Native Americans and Haitians with special needs. Speaking through true stories and revelations that they've personally experienced, they look forward to sharing through their original music a testimony of love. How through love, we learn to abandon our predetermined notions of what is, to make room for what can be. When we learn to become present to one another and allow ourselves to see God in everyone and everything we encounter. So please welcome Brittany and Charlie.
Thank you, everybody. You hear me all right? This is good? No? Okay, well, that's a good start. Okay. Is this a little better? Is this closer? Closer, better? Is that? Okay. Can you hear this? Can you hear me? Is this better? Okay. Good. Is your mic good?
Hello. Hello. I am talking into the microphone. But when we sound checked this, there were no people in the room. I'm speaking. Can you hear us, Pat?
We're good.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, without further ado, we'd like to take a moment before we begin for dedication. We dedicate this talk tonight to the Ukrainian people and to all refugees and to all those who are victims of oppressive authoritarian regimes. May this conflict help the world to wake up from our senseless culture wars in this country and abroad, where we are told to be against one another. May we instead strive for peace in this world. May we see the end of killing and see that all life is sacred and worthy of dignity. May we see that we are all related and we are all in this struggle together, and that encouraging false divisions only makes us all suffer more. May we wake up from the moral and spiritual bankruptcy of authoritarianism, violence, hatred, racism, and war. Remembering that war is not man-made. War is not a natural disaster. War is a man-made disaster. So may we be patient with others if they act in ways that we don't understand, for we know that they're struggling also. And may we be humble to admit our shortcomings when we recognize them. as we were told by Jesus, may we be wise as serpents and harmless as doves. Well, thank you. So I'm Kelly's brother, and we are Kelly's brother.
And it took quite a village to welcome us here. So we want to thank all those involved for welcoming us here, including Father Ritchie and Irene Lucas, Rose Scaliza, who invited us here in the first place, all the soup people, Pat Schickler helping us with all the audio and tech things, Tom Brager, wherever you are, and for my parents, helping out with all the behind-the-scenes things and PR. My mom is great at that. Thank you, Mom and Dad. And the title of our first album is Regifting the Gifts We've Been Given. And I think it's most appropriate to also acknowledge someone who was really exemplified that, and that is the late and beautiful Sister Mary Rose Romeo, who I met at age 9 right over there. And tomorrow she would have turned 74, I believe. And so I honor her and bless her to just thank her for all that she's done to what I am today.
And I'd also like to thank my parents for being here and for all you've done to raise us and to be good examples of how to live our lives, how to care for each other. And also, I want to thank my sister Kelly. She's not here tonight. She's with her other friends, but she's the reason why this is all a thing. She's the reason why I am who I am in many ways. And so, as we'll explore tonight, some of the reasons why I'm so thankful to have her as my sister. Mainly for teaching me, I'd like to thank her for teaching me how to celebrate living and the meaning of presence to one another, for teaching me how to slow down, for teaching me how to not be attached to things, and for not taking life too seriously. It's an important lesson that I feel like only she can lead by example and teach. As many of you know, some of you don't know, my sister Kelly has special needs. And her condition is one that has still never been diagnosed after 45 years. And this unknowing has added to the real challenge that has been ever present. I spent many nights throughout my life asking why, reflecting on this, and honestly, just being confused. Praying for peace and healing for her, like my whole family. But yet her need for 24-hour care still remains. So I found that for me, writing has been a great source of peace in my life. And to get my thoughts out, and as a way to creatively tell her story and share her story with all of you. The purpose of Kelly's Brother Project is on one hand to share her story, but it's also to take the challenges of her life and turn them into something beautiful in a way that music and creative expression only can do. And as we say, re-gift the gifts that we've been given through music.
And as Rose mentioned at the beginning, we are a project not only to share our music to influence our hearts and minds, but also as a means of fundraising for individuals with disabilities in Haiti and also our partners in southern Arizona. So if you feel compelled to donate to these communities, we have a table set up in the back in addition to our visual art. All the visual art that you will see encapsulates the lyrics that you will hear this evening. We are in the mixing phase of our first album, so it's nearly done. But we don't have it available for you tonight. However, if you're interested in that, there's also a sign-up sheet in the back where you can see the visual art and our website and all of those things.
So as I was saying, Kelly, she keeps me in touch with myself and offers rich inspiration. For anybody here living with somebody with special needs and a multitude of health conditions, you quickly become aware at how fragile life is. When you are led into this awareness of the preciousness and delicate nature of life, you start to notice all these subtle, seemingly insignificant observations. Some enjoyable, like just brewing a cup of tea in the evening before bed and enjoying that, or listening to birds sing the beautiful songs in the backyard. Some things you observe are more challenging, like how your heart hurts when you notice the homeless person on the street, or when you see the self-destructive behavior of the addict, or the imperfect state of so many of our society's institutions. But through her, I have found that life is larger than my own, and it's not until that happened did I realize that my life is not about me. This experience has been a journey. It wasn't something that happened overnight, and frankly, it's still an evolving process that we're engaged in. So trying to remind ourselves of that every day, to be thankful. It's been simultaneously probably one of the most difficult things I've ever had to deal with, but also the most beautiful thing that I've ever had to deal with, or had the pleasure of dealing with, or enjoying, and I wouldn't trade it for the world. So I just wanted to say a little bit about her before we begin. All songs and messages tonight are invitations to experience in one place the depth dimension of all things, of circumstance and compassion, of struggle and transcendence, and in dealing with the unknowing. So many themes and much of the language used in our writing intentionally has multiple meanings in an attempt to be accessible to different individuals at different points in their journey. So as are these stories, life is multidimensional and so different yet so similar. And it's a beautiful thing to remind ourselves. So our first song is about awareness, oneness, transformation, and the divine nature of all things.
As we share our first song, we welcome you to follow along on the handout you saw in the back. Everyone receives differently. Maybe you want to just listen, maybe you want to read, maybe you want to close your eyes, but I invite you to engage with this text. Even if that means you underline and circle things, if you highlight things, this text is for all of us. And this is called Shades of Green.
Here, can I get that E? Excuse me. the landscapes and timescapes before us, studying patterns on the earth and the sky. We seldom offered such a meaningful conclusion of what can happen when a grain of wheat dies. Oh, what a gift to be aware of our awareness. Lucid reasoning, we ask ourselves why. But we can change our mind by thinking a new thought and hold a gift inside that money can't buy.
If you can say yes or you can say no, why do you say I don't know? For once you say yes or once you say no, it's hard to say I don't know. So if you should say yes or if you should say no, please don't say I don't know. For once you say yes, then you can say no, and you can say I don't know.
How many shades of green are there in the forest? A breathless vision as appears in a dream. We feel the gravity of life in our existence. One time a second in our consciousness stream. The precious winds of change usher in a new day, where consciousness evolves with love as the theme. The long arc inside is bending toward justice, as we realize our government has no seam.
If you can say yes,
Or you can say no.
why do you say I don't know?
But once you say yes,
Once you say no,
it's hard to say I don't know.
but if you should say yes,
Or if you should say no.
please don't say I don't know.
But if you can say yes,
Then you can say no,
and you can say I don't know.
Look to the earth again, our mother and teacher, changing with the seasons, but not too soon.
The great archetype of transformation. Listen to the sparrow as he changes his tune. We are the stewards of our inner country. Life's spiral curving lends it alters our view.
Let us be reminded by the
order in nature. All will be well. As the struggle ensues. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Could it be that there are as many shades of skin tones on this earth as there are shades of green in the forest? I have no way of proving this, but I would say that there probably are at least that many colors of skin tones. And how beautiful a thought. How beautiful is the lush forest, and how beautiful is the human race with all of our colors, customs, traditions, and religions. The richness and The richness in unity is found in the expression of diversity. If we want to be united, we have to bring all people to the table. We have to see the good in all people and trust that goodness in them. And Kelly, enter Kel. This is where she has no problem with this. She only sees everybody as good, and she trusts it. Growing up, when we were kids, Mom and Dad would take us to the store, and this is when Kelly was able to go, and we'd have to keep an eye on her because if you weren't watching, she'd want to reach out and touch people. She'd want to tap their shoulder or grab their arm or something like that, give them a hug, and didn't matter what they looked like, didn't matter their skin tone, didn't matter what language they spoke, their sexual orientation, political affiliation, none of that mattered to Kel. She just saw them as people, and that was enough. And this is how she affirmed what she intuited, that people are good. So I was mostly embarrassed, of course, or felt awkward whenever she would do this, but I didn't really realize how she was showing me by example how to see others in this way. She was teaching me back then how to see others, not to be afraid of them or judgmental of them or to put them into any sort of categories, just to trust them and to see everybody the same with attention and with dignity. And this is very beautiful. She trusts people are good, and she has no predisposition to ego or pride issues or suspicion of people. I joked around before, and I said she was gifted in the sense that she essentially was born without an ego. So she doesn't know what jealousy is. She doesn't know what all these things are, spite, and she's not easily offended. We'll put it that way. But it wasn't until later in my life. But this realization is what helped me to let go and empty myself of my own habitual thoughts of what I thought was good or fair or reasonable. It helped me to let go, like the grain of wheat that falls and dies. I was able to let my predetermined notions of things fall away and die, so that with awareness I could be filled back up again with something, a different way of seeing, a more life-giving way, if you will, personally speaking. Seeing a world through Kelly's eyes helped me to see for myself the good in all people, and by extension, the good in all things. The natural world is good. The natural world is so good. It says something like that in Romans about, just look to the earth to have revealed to you the glory of God and the things that are made and the things of the earth. So that's kind of what the song is about as well. We can be inspired by looking at the green moss, the green ferns, the green leaves, and we can be inspired by the ordered yet dynamic adaptability of the changing of seasons and bird songs. We too can change ourselves, and as I say, hold a gift that money can't buy. So how do we do that? By seeing. By Kelly seeing the good in all things, she revealed how she perceives the world differently, without judgment, many times not with a clear yes or no in mind to any situation. That's another thing that she's taught, is she's taught to see I don't know not as a shortcoming, but she's challenged us to see I don't know as an invitation to awareness and openness and trust. You don't know how much you need to trust until things are uncertain in your life, until you don't know when you're going to get an answer. Maybe you'll never get an answer. But how many times in our society are we told or expected to say yes or no to things that we're not sure about? Like if you belong to a certain political party, you have to say yes to this or no to that without exception. Or, well, frankly, even religion, you have to say yes to this or no to that. And frankly, even geographically speaking, depending on where you live in this country, you have to say yes to certain things and no to certain things. So sometimes we can see how I don't know could be a good and healthy answer to have to realize our limitations. However, I don't know or being lukewarm on an issue is an inadequate response in the face of oppression or injustice. I don't know can be manifest as an unanswered yearning or longing. I don't know can be used as a shield to hide behind. Or I don't know can lead you into a place of spaciousness and peace. So as we can see, sometimes I don't know as a response has multiple meanings and implications similar to many of the other ideas and thoughts we have throughout the day. But it's up to us to be aware is the point. We have to be aware of our thoughts. And some of our thoughts can hurt us, and some of our thoughts can heal us. This next song is called Falling Leaf. Ready? I'm good.
What do you say you believe in? Are we all not worthy of love? Trust with your heart, says our elders, to experience what we've come to know. We are all one human family, crawling out of the womb of the earth, still evolving, still becoming, still discovering who we are. Look into my eyes.
Tell me, what do you see?
Are there splinters or a story of a soul? I am in this world.
I'm thankful for my life.
Not of a system that puts me against my kin. Stepping out of the mirror.
Emerging consciousness.
I take a turn, then I know things another way. Can you feel my scars?
They feel the same as yours.
A common bond that encourages tolerance. Different language, different culture, but we're made of the same flesh and bone. Passing judgment and suspicion keeps us trapped with a hardened heart. Thoughts can hurt us, thoughts can heal us. How you treat me you treat me, you will be cold. Watch the falling leaves.
Soon too will become dirt.
Life's too short to not want to make peace. Slow your anxious mind.
No need to toil or spin.
Little by little, the bird will build its nest. Some questions persist.
Though no answer exists.
One suggestion is to reframe your inquiry. Lines are drawn in the sand.
And which side do you stand?
Couples on both sides, I choose to be a bridge. Start your day giving thanks for life. Before your meal, giving thanks for food. And your day giving thanks for life. With gratitude, you change your mood. I want to live in harmony. The light of love is everywhere I see. No price to pay, the cost is free. Inclusiveness brings unity. I want to live in harmony. The light of love is everywhere I see. No price to pay, the cost is free. Inclusiveness brings unity. There's harmony in unity. Through a rose glass, a mirror darkly, you can choose many views. We're our part right, we're our part wrong. There's many parts that make us whole. What is sacred? What is profane? What's the value of our worth? Set intentions, identify love, trust the process and welcome your peace.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Within this rich text is a small golden nugget tucked deep inside that we may have missed because there's so much richness that we feel it's important to highlight. It's something so simple, yet so profound. It's somewhere right in the middle, and it reads, "With gratitude, you change your mood." What a simple idea. That when you're grateful for what is, that your entire perspective is changed. Have you ever noticed anyone in your life who is grateful? They're probably farther along the journey than maybe others you've met. They talk different. They organize themselves different. They conduct themselves differently, and that all comes from that core place of gratefulness. And, of course, we can all be grateful for different things. We have different abilities, different environments, different circumstances, different gifts. However, When we start at that core of gratefulness, our mood can then be transformed.
To a place of love. Gratitude is an agent for humility. Humility is an agent for compassion. These things kind of lead into the next. Compassion is an agent for awareness, right? Awareness then is an agent for love. And love is an agent for peace. So probably you're wondering, grateful for what? What are we grateful for? What are we supposed to be grateful for? Maybe. Some of you guys might be wondering that. And I'd say it's really not so much about what it is that you're thankful for, more than the attitude and orientation of thanksgiving and celebration and being aware that you're the recipient of something that you didn't earn. And spending time and helping individuals with special needs surely helps remind us of that. You can't help but reflect, in fact. You sense their genuine nature, like Kelly May, her sister. You sense her genuine nature and her childlike trust, and it's admirable, to say the least. You start to see life and live life through another lens, where we don't we take kind of a different view, and we see things differently than, especially in our highly individualized society, where we admire power and wealth, frankly, and we look down upon the poor, a lot of people. It allows us to live a different way, and when we do this, when we live out of these self-centered ways, we start thinking, like, what matters? Does technology matter? Does having this newest thing matter? What about academic accreditation, or respect of others, notoriety? Do these things matter? Are these things going to make us happy? And frankly, we all know the answer is no to this. We all know that's not going to make us happy. But if we're really being honest, we do think that, and we do, because I know I do. I think that, the next thing I get is going to make me happy sometimes, and I'm not saying that having accomplishments or material things are inherently bad. I'm just saying that if we're going to, we have to balance this with some sort of other-centered activities as well, to keep us balanced and to keep us seeing all of creation in the light that it should be, with reverence and appreciation. So, like for me, for example, it helps us to understand, like, some of the things that do matter, for me anyways, are right in front of us. And I'm thankful for my life, for my health, to be able to get up and get myself out of bed when I want. Yeah, I'm able to help myself to the bathroom if I have to go to the bathroom, or get myself a drink of water if I'm thirsty. I can dress myself and tie my shoes. I can pick up a book and read. I can pick up a pen and write. And I can communicate my needs. And I can pause and reflect on the beauty of a single flower. These are things Kelly helps me to see. She helps me to see this way, and she keeps me grateful and aware of all my countless blessings that I know I didn't earn. I didn't earn any of them. And although she might not be able to do a lot of these things, there's a different list for her that she's thankful for. A different beautiful list. Her loving family and friends. Her brown couch. For Sesame Street and her Disney movies. especially Pinocchio, Frozen, Moana, just to name a few. And for her character shirts, socks. Those are the things that Kelly's thankful for, and she gets so excited when you put them before her. And this is what I'm talking about, for the presence of another. Perhaps she's thankful when she's having a normal day and she's not struggling or imbalanced after having a debilitating seizure the night before.
So, as we choose a place of gratefulness, it's not so much what it is, but the act of choosing it. There's a line in that piece we just offered, no need to toil or spin. I tend to toil and spin a lot. But if I mindfully choose to operate from a place of gratitude, all of that toil and spin is gone. It's muted. And there's a lot in each of our own life experience that we might have to mute, and challenges that we will each have to face. But allowing ourselves to operate from that place of gratitude, our mood will change. I see it in all the places that I work, people with special needs, people with traumatic brain injury. They are grateful to be alive. None of us in this room died of COVID in the past 2 years. What a place of gratefulness we need to operate from. What beauty we have that we woke up, that we were safe to get here right now, that we have the means to go home.
Yeah, and that we get to wake up and try again tomorrow.
Amen.
So, and also the final thing to be thankful for is the great peace that the present moment shows. Now, you guys probably might be wondering about the
This odd specimen in the front.
yeah, it's a Taos gathering drum, or grandmother drum, from Taos, New Mexico.
Used in Native American ceremonies, both for special celebrations, but also to gather. It's typically used where everyone sits around this and uses a beater. And you can't get much closer to Mother Earth than a tree trunk and the skin of 2 elks.
Yeah, it's cottonwood trunk. Beautiful drum. Cottonwood trunk carved out with elk on top and bottom. Imagine how old this tree must have been. Hundreds of years old. And the elk that gave their life for this drum. We invite you to enjoy the sounds here while we play our final song. And we have a little mini outro too, but this is kind of our final song. This song's called Cosmic Banquet.
as with a tiny drop of dew, our trees and stones participate in the cycle of which they pour. Unique roles with unique traits, with an eye of selfless love, we sacrifice as we commune. The gift of tears fills our hearts, sharing the burden of our wound. To receive, but it's through our shadow that we transcend. The gift of tears removes our pride as we now see a different end. To receive is to accept. To accept is to forgive. Making amends restores our heart. Then we are free to truly live. I'm naked now, with no shame to hide, speaking the truth. I've always known all things are one, equally good, as our deepest ground is shown. Out of the water into the dirt, then up a tree, then back down again into a cave, then back out. The flame has come, we learn to see a trend. 1 + 1, then 1 is 3. Can we see yet our humanity? We're in relation to the purple sky, past the single day that our mere body dies. I'm coming home with the feeling of joy, with possibilities I had never known. I'm here to offer a simple gift, the great peace the present moment shows. In a realm beyond our conscious thought, where there's nothing to solve and there's no one to blame. When trials come, don't be so sure to know, for your story and mine are both the same. In the macro we identify, but in the macro our real meaning lies. A universal invitation to this cosmic banquet.
Thank you.
Thank you. What a gift to be able to hear this in a beautiful space like this.
So, Mitakwe Oyasin. Aho. Mitakwe Oyasin. We'd like to thank you for being present and sharing this with us. This is actually our first time playing this for a group. This is a very special piece for us, and it's dedicated to our Native American indigenous people of this continent we call North America. In general, these people are brilliant, alive spiritual community. They saw all of life intertwined. They see all of life as intertwined, and in a type of seamless garment where pulling on one side affects the other. And they saw the reverence and the value of all things because they knew that they were part of the same thing. Yeah, they knew that the world was connected and that the Great Spirit is the animator of life. They always lived with awareness of the spiritual realm, and they knew that everything had its purpose. They were in relation, as we said, to the purple sky, the rocks and the trees, and especially the water, or the tiny drops of dew. In every way, they lived within the cyclical rhythms of life and season. They orient their life this way. They pay attention to the stars and the phases of the moon. They have names for different times of year related to what was being observed in the natural world. The time of the winter moon, the time to plant, the time for plants to grow, the time of the ripening berry, time for food beginning to form, the season of bearing food, the season of the great falling of leaves, and the season of cold weather returning. That was their calendar. And they lived actively participating in the evolving creation story, in the first act of divine revelation, if you will. They have been reading out of what can be called the first Bible, or creation, written roughly 13.8 billion years ago, also known as the Big Bang. They saw the whole world as holy, and I believe we have a lot to learn from them in this regard. They see the whole world as holy. My apologies. They are in tune with the earth, in tune with their people, making room for all people in their community, embracing diversity. In various tribes, individuals with disabilities hold a special place within the community. And this warmed my heart the first time I learned about this. And I can see why. I really can. I can see how a group with such keen awareness to the organic, natural experience would know that somebody like Kelly has so much to offer, so much to teach. And that was why people in general with special needs were put in that position. How through nurturing and attentive care we can change our outlook. We can learn to abandon our predetermined notions of what is to make room for what can be. When we begin to see all things as being part of something bigger. All things in this existence as sacred with their own unique roles to play. And herein lies the great secret that is perhaps stated best by the Lakota. They have a simple, profound statement. Aho metakwe oyasin. It means all are related. As was stated before, they saw all life as intertwined, and in a way, a type of reverence for all things, because they knew, as I said, they were part of the same thing. So with this in mind, see if you can feel the connection in the words of this prayer written by an anonymous elder. To the Creator, for the ultimate gift of life, I thank you. To the mineral nation that has built and maintained my bones and all foundations of life, I thank you. To the plant nation that sustains my organs and body and gives me healing herbs for sickness, I thank you. To the animal nation that feeds me with your own flesh and offers your loyal companionship in this walk of life, I thank you. To the human nation that shares my path as a soul upon the sacred wheel of earthly life, I thank you. To the spirit nation that invisibly guides me through the ups and downs of life and for carrying the torch of light throughout the ages, I thank you. To the four winds of change and growth, I thank you. You are all my relations, my relatives, with whom I would not exist. We are all in this circle together, coexisting, codependent, co-creating our destiny, one not more important than the other, but one nation evolving from the other, and yet each dependent upon the one above and the one below, all part of us, all of us part of the great mystery. May this humble, grateful awareness of all things being related awaken us from our slumber and foster understanding in our hearts and souls, because it is a lack of understanding between people and cultures that is related to all the suffering and unanswered questions that are passed down through the ages. So help us to understand each other with more patience and with less judgment. Help us to understand the joy that I feel is the same joy that you feel, and that the pain that I feel is the same pain that you feel.
One day this earth will pass away, and I know what I want to say. When we hear and see through our hearts, we're shown the truth and how great thou art. The joy I feel is the same joy you feel. The pain I feel is the same pain. No more division will I know. Truly I say then our hearts will grow.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. Oh. Oh. I should say too, none of this would be. What kind of a husband am I? I didn't even thank my wife over here. This wouldn't be possible without her. And Brittany, I thank you for everything. You helped me so much. This wouldn't be possible without you. So thank you. Okay, well that was it. I hope you guys found something in there. I know this is kind of just a work in progress, but I hope you guys found something in there that you maybe like, maybe you'll reflect on. If you ever want to stay in touch, we have a sign-up sheet in the back. Album's going to be coming out within the next month, so that'll be fun. We'll be playing around. So.
And Rose has some.
Well, Brittany and Charlie, thank you very much for sharing a very inspiring story with us and showing us in a very special way how you are re-gifting the gifts that you've been given. So thank you very much for coming. And everyone is invited to please attend next week. Our parish mission will be occurring next Sunday night through Tuesday evening. So you're all welcome to come for that. And it'll be a very dynamic speaker, dramatic representation of the Gospel of Luke. So please join us next week.
Thank you. See you in the back if you're interested.
Thanks.
Be safe.
Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you, Rose.